Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This chapter is associated with the motivation and performance of your employee. As we were discussing different aspects of management, so motivating your employees is the most important aspect of your management system, because you have to do work through people. You have many people working with you, and most of them, mostly they are employees, and it's when employees are satisfied, they'll give you performance more than you have expected. So it's very important that you motivate your employee and enhance their performance by motivating them and by giving them such kind of atmosphere which will encourage them to improve their performance is very much important. Because being a leader is not only to govern people, it's something which you have to do when you are in the at the upper corporate level, or not only on the corporate level, but at different levels of management. You have to ascertain that what are the motivational factors of different jobs, or you can say when you are working in different areas, as when you are working in a backward area or in an area which you feel that there are people are below poverty level. So at that point, their income is their most the income is, or the incentive you are providing them, it's a motivational factor. But in some cases, money doesn't matter. In some cases, you have to motivate your employees by giving them importance, by giving them certain appreciation, or giving them certain training, whatever you can see, giving them opportunities. So there are many things which are important for your employees, and which are very much I can say factor which enhance their performance. One of the major factor is motivation. That when, if you have well motivated and positively behaved employee, so they will give you far better result as compared to the people who are only working for their income, and or only working or associated with the organization, as they are not getting any opportunity elsewhere. So motivation is very much important. As we are studying management in the context of a business executive, so it's very important that when you are managing your employees, so you have to certain that what are certain factors which enhance the motivational level of your employees. And we'll be discussing this kind of you can say activities, or this kind of nature of perform in these kind of theories, and these kind of measures which will help the manager to enhance the performance of their employees by motivating them and improving their performance. Nature of motivation. When we talk about motivation, so first of all, what is motivation? Motivation is actually the intentions of your employees to work in the work, or put its effort in the work which is assigned to him in the organization, and it's his willingness. And for example, if an employees wants to work very hard at one day, and on the other day he want to just doing work in order to avoid warning, or he don't want to avoid any kind of consequences, or he was doing work because he was afraid of some kind of penalty. So or as it another day, or for example another day, he don't want to work at all, and he find out ways in order to he can avoid work. So why these conditions occur, and why the employee is not even influenced, or he don't want to do work, because there are certain things which are actually demotivating him, and he don't want to work hard because he does not feel any kind of appreciation, kind of an incentive, or all those things. So what is the role of a manager? Because as a management student, or as a manager, when we are in an organization at different level, whether we are at a corporate level, whether we are at a middle level, or whether we are at an operational level, whatever level we are on, we have people under us, and we have to see that how we can let these people satisfied in the atmosphere, and they are willing to do work, and we are actually want to get work from them. So how we can get work from them in a more desirable way, and avoid a different kind of uncertain situation, is called is very important. And this can be done if we achieve a high level of motivation among employees, and we can ascertain by seeing your employees and kind of behavior they are showing, that what things are more important to them, and through which medium, or through which can say incentive, or through which behavior they will give us better result. So the goal of manager is to maximize desired behavior and minimize undesired behavior. Motivation is the set of forces that cause people to behave in certain ways. Whatever you want to achieve, if you want your people to do very hard work because the deadline is approaching, or there are certain event which is about to approach, and you have to complete that work. So motivation is something which will help your employees, which will, you can say, force your employee willingly to accomplish certain task. So this is the task of a manager, to create atmosphere of such a kind in the organization that your employee is very well satisfied, and it is motivated enough to achieve the goals which are assigned to them by the organization. We can see that what is the importance of motivation in workplace, as we know that what is motivation, but how it's the motivation is more productive in our workplace. When generally we talk about the performance of any employee, or the people who are working in the organization, there are three major determination, or can determinants of anyone's performance or setting. So we are talking majorly, we are talking about the people who are working in the organization, and they are majorly employees. So there are three major determinants of, or you can determine it, or three factors we can determine any individual's performance. Number one is motivation, as we have discussed it, that motivation is something or a secondly, the thing is the ability. The ability, in when we talk about ability, so the ability might be the education that the person has acquired, and he knows that he knows his job very well, or you can say he had an experience of doing that job, or he is very quickly in assessing that situation, and he had the ability to understand certain scenarios, and he can do the job. So the work environment is something which is very much important. The work environment includes the resources provided to the employee. The work environment include your subordinates. A work environment includes your higher ups. A work environment includes your physical environment, the temperature, the safety, and all these things are collectively comprise the work environment of any organization. So if you have very favorable condition in that setting, obviously the individual or the employee can do the work in a very well way. So if the you can say if the employee lacks ability, the manager use certain things, or if we take the example of any machinery, so you can help him, and you can train him to use that resources, and you improve its ability. Secondly, if there is resource problem, so resource problem, can be resolved very quickly, and you can provide them with resources, right resources at right time, and you can help them to complete the job. But if there is a problem in motivation, that is that if they lacks the desire to do work, then it's far more challenging, because you have to make them work in a very desirable way. You cannot, because if we are in a setting in which there is a behavior model is applied, so you cannot force your employee. You have to tactically modify his behavior, tactically create certain things in such a way that they can work in a very desirable way, because you cannot in the motivation. So that's something very much important. So thus the motivation framework is a good starting point to understand motivated behavior. Obviously, if you want to have a very if you want to have a motivated employees. Now, in order to understand the motivational process, or in order to understand the mechanism of motivation, we can go through the motivational framework. It's a diagram through which you can understand that how employees feel that less motivated, and what are the ways that they can go through, and what are the ways in which they can satisfy their needs. So it's just like the need satisfaction kind of framework, in which there is need arise, and you search for ways in order to satisfy your need, and then you find out that what are the best ways you can satisfy your needs, and so on. So in this case, first of all, we look at this mechanism in which there is a need or deficiency. For example, you feel that there is something deficient. I'm not just talking about the motivational thing. I'm just discussing the needs satisfaction mechanism, and after that we'll be discussing the motivational framework. So there is a need or there's a deficiency. For example, if you are thirsty, so you need water, or you feel that there is a deficiency of water, and you are feeling dehydrated, so you will be searching to satisfy your thirst, or satisfy any kind of need. So once you feel certain need, so you search ways to satisfy your needs. You can go to have a water, or you can have a drink, or you can have a tea, whatever you want to have in order to satisfy your thirst or any other need. Or then choice of behavior to satisfy need. Then what are the type of behavior you need to satisfy your needs. Then after you uh, uh, satisfy your need, the fourth thing is that you see that when you feel thirsty, and you have a drink, and you have a behavior, that whether you have satisfied or your need, that satisfied your need or not, then you evaluate that whether the thing you have taken have satisfied your need or not. That is called as evaluation of need satisfaction. And the next step is the determination of needs and search choices for satisfaction. That in future, what type of if certain things have satisfied your needs, and you have satisfied from that, so then you will be determine your behavior. And the behavior suggests that whether what kind of satisfaction level you have achieved. So obviously, once you have completed, then again the process starts, and you then again you have certain kind of deficiency, and you'll search for finding the ways to satisfy your needs. So this is a need satisfaction process, and its evaluation process. Now, if we look at the motivational framework, so in motivational framework, there is a certain kind of scenario in which the employee feel that he is underpaid, or he thinks that he's doing very well job, he's doing very good in his capacity, but he thinks that he is not being paid well, or he's not getting enough salary to satisfy so for what he had done, or what the job he is doing. So the second thing is that the second kind of choice is that either he works very hard, or he had to prove himself, or secondly, the another option is that he search for new job, that way he can find more remuneration, or more reward for his for hard work or anything. Then Third, next step is choosing option, that if he had options, that whether he go work hard, whether he go for a new job. So he has to find out the option, that where should he go, because he has to see the response of his subordinate, so his response of its upper hierarchy, that whether they are recognizing your hard work, or if they are not recognizing your hard work and they are not rewarding you enough. So what they'll do is they'll go for a new job and find out ways that they can satisfy their that need, that they want to have more salaries. Then option after that, whether he had worked hard or whether he had chosen the job, he have to evaluate that after choosing working hard, or after choosing a new job, what kind of results he got, and based upon that he determined that in future what kind of behavior he should pursue, and so on. This motivational framework goes on and on. So by understanding this motivational framework, and a manager can bestly devise policies, bestly devise plans, or bestly devise his instructions, or its incentive plans to motivate his employees more positively, and give them more feedback, give them more incentive, and give them more encouragemental words, which will help him to increase his output and increase its motivational level. And after that, if he is motivated, he will help us to achieve the organizational goals more effectively and more efficiently. Again, now, like in the previous chapters, the traditional process, the traditional approach or classical approach, or the approach adopted by Frederick Taylor, and Henry Foyle, and then Max Weber. This or Frederick, over here, the traditional approach is more dominated by Frederick Taylor, which is actually a scientific management thought. So according to them, the manager know more than workers. So it's a traditional approach. So over here, the manager's approach is, or according to the scientific management school of thought, that manager more than knows more than workers, because they are the people who had designed all the tasks, who have designed the job, different jobs, and they know more than the workers, so they can more betterly train them, guide them, and help them to achieve the work, and also help them to do the work by monitoring them and by guiding them and training them. And second thing is that the main motivational factor, according to him, of performance is the economic gains, the money, the remuneration you are giving to your employees, the income, the salaries you are giving to your employees is the main motivation source. And if you increase or decrease, or decrease these things, it can increase the level of motivation of their employees. And third thing, the certain or given by this traditional thought, traditional approach, is that workers work is inherently unpleasant, that they think that they want to avoid work, the employees want to avoid work, and anybody to whom you are assigning work, according to them, the work you are giving them, it's not very pleasant for them, and they are not very willing to do that work. So this is a kind of thing that is the approach of scientific management thought. But the ways are now, the thinking of this kind of behavior is different in behavioral thought or in humanistic approach. So we'll be discussing that thing in the next slide. Secondly, we are discussing the historical perspective on motivation. In the previous slide, we have discussed the traditional approach of perspective of motivation. But according to the human relation approach, emphasis was the role of social process in the workplace. As according to the human relation movement, or the researchers, or who are actually of the view that the humans are the humans which are working in the organization are humans. They are not like just like a resource, or just they are not machines. They have feelings, and they have they can give you more than their productivity level. So according to him, them, they say they give the view that workplace is a social process, and when you are working in the organization, the people are working in a social group. So their assumption is, first assumption is that the employees want to feel useful and important. That this is actually a very important thing. If someone feels that I am very much important for the organization, and I am a very productive part of that organization, so obviously it will increase their motivational level. The first assumption is that you let the people think that they are very much important and they are very useful for the organization. Second thing is, employees have strong needs more important than money. Obviously that's something very much important, as contrast to the traditional approach, which says that the only thing which can motivate employee is their salary, or their the monetary or economic gains you are providing to them. According to human relation movement, he thought, they say that employees social needs are more important than the money you are giving them as a remuneration or as a salary. So maintaining the appearance of employee participation is obviously very much important. That you have to maintain this actually suggests that in any kind of achievement, in any kind of thing, or any important, for example, if you are planning something, or if you are planning for a future, or planning for important event, so you have to give more participation to your employees. You have to make them part of your decisions, you have to make them part of your planning, so they'll feel very much important. Another, the human research approach goes to another step forward, and they have can say contribution would enhance motivation. Let's say they say the human relation believe that if you give them contribution, that contribution and importance, so it will drastically contribute the motivational level of your employees. According to their assumption, employees contribution are important and valuable to the employee and the organization. That if they contribute, if they give their ideas, if you give them a task, and and assign them the task of planning and evaluation and controlling themselves, they will give you more result as compared to if you are only giving them instruction or giving them prepared plans. And employees want and are able to make genuine contribution. So you have to ascertain, you have to give the importance to your employees, and you have to consider their contribution, they have to consider their ideas. And because these ideas are coming from the grassroots level, they know the realities of the ground, they know the realities of the operational atmosphere, so they can give you more genuine contribution as compared to you are doing at a corporate level. So management job is to encourage participation and create a work environment that motivates employees. This is something very much important, because as a manager, your job is to create an environment in the organization, such kind of environment in the organization that will help in contribution, cooperation, collaboration. Obviously when these kind of things are there, so they will help them to have a collaborative kind of environment, a productive kind of environment, and they feel that they are actually being safeguarded by different things. So in this case, they can make the environment more productive, and more employees feels more motivated if this kind of environment is created in the organization. Now, content perspective on motivation. When we say that content perspective, that means that what are the contents, on what are the things which can identify that there are certain deficiencies, or the employee feel that they need these things, due to which, and these things are not being satisfied, or they are not getting these things from their jobs, or the reward of their jobs. So these, they feel deficient, and this is the phase in which an employee feel deficient, or employee feel that certain things has to be resolved, or they are searching for something which can give them satisfaction or increase their motivation. So in this slide we will discuss that what are the various perspective, or what are the various things which can increase the motivation level of the people who are working in the organization, like for example your subordinates, your employees, or the workforce, which are the major component of any organization, because they are involved in operational activities. Not only that, you have management or managerial personnel at every level, so they also need some different kind of motivation in order to do their work more effectively and efficiently. So there are different perspective on this. The first perspective are given by the labor leaders. These are the union leaders or the labor leaders who want to negotiate a certain perspective of their laborers, or their members of their association, in order to increase the pay scale, or advantages or benefits provided by the organization to their employees. So the perspective of these labor leaders are that the employees are more motivated if they get more pay, and if they have relaxed working hours, or if they are shorter working hours, and they have shorter work to do, and they are sick. And lastly, they have improved working conditions, like where they are working, they feel safe, they feel they should have protective equipments, and they should have an atmosphere which is not any kind harmful to their health. So this perspective is more or less being addressed by different theorists, different researchers, and we will discuss these theories later in this chapter. But other experts, and most of these experts are from the different backgrounds of your study. For example, majority of from psychology, or from sociology, or anthropologist. So these are the people who had provided, in addition to this thing, that motivation is enhanced by providing more autonomy and greater responsibility. More autonomy means that the employees should have say in their work. They should plan their work, they should evaluate their work, so they should have more authority in doing their work, and whatever the responsibility they are given to them. So this is the other theory that is called as two vector theories, and we will discuss this theory in the later of this chapter. We are discussing motivation, and we have discussed the motivational process, which is related to need recognition problem, and after that searching for satisfaction of those needs, and then evaluation and finding ways that how these needs are satisfied. If we want to understand the motivational process, and if we want to increase the motivational level of our employees in the organization setting, it's very important to go through different theories and identify that what type of needs people have, and what type of different needs different people at different level of their we can say age, or achievement should have, or what different type of needs which can help to the corporate level to identify that what needs should be target in order to achieve the motivational level of their employees. So if you look at this, so we have different theories regarding needs. Main of two theories are Maslow's hierarchy of need, and the second one is ERG theory. And we'll be discussing these theories one by one. In the next slide, we will discuss Maslow needs hierarchy. So this theory, the Maslow needs hierarchy of needs, actually suggest that people have different type levels of need, and in order to see, if we want to increase their motivational level, or in order to see that what type of needs are can be satisfied by the upper level or by the organization in order to achieve the different levels of motivation. So people according to Maslow, people must, in a hierarchical order, satisfy 5 groups of need. So, if we look at the diagram of this theory, it actually shows a pyramid in which at the lower level we have the basic needs, and when we goes up into the pyramids. So, once we satisfied the lower level needs, we'll be searching for the higher up needs. So, first of all, at the lowest level of the pyramid is your physiological needs, the needs for basic survival, or you can say biological function. For example, the basic needs is oxygen. The basic needs is your food. You want to if you want to survive, you must have food, you must have water, you must have air, you must have oxygen. So these are the basic needs which are very much important, which are very much necessity for the survival of that individual. And once these needs are satisfied, the second set of needs are your security needs, the needs for safety, needs for physical and emotional environment, needs for shelter, for example, security needs. So once you are satisfied with your physiological needs, second step is that you search for your security. You search for your shelter, that you must have a home, you must have something in which you feel safe, and you should be working in a very safe environment. The third thing is your belongingness needs for love and affection. Once your basic needs are satisfied, that is your physiological needs and your securities needs, then you want to have a certain relationship. That might be your marriage relationship, that might be your friendship, that might be your other family members. So these are the relationship through which you can have certain belongingness, and you'll get love and affection from these relationships. Once these needs are satisfied, then the fourth level of need is your self-esteem needs. Esteem needs for positive image. That means that you want to have a very respectful image in your society wherever you live. You want to have a position. You want to be recognized. So this is your third need. Once you are done with your physiological needs, you'll go for security needs, and then when you have your both of these needs are satisfied, you must have needs which are actually related to your belongingness. And once you'll get that, the next level of need is your self-esteem needs. That means that you want to have a certain achievement in life. You want to have you want to have certain respect in the surrounding, in the society in which you move. Once these needs are satisfied, then you will go for self-actualization needs. That needs in which you want to excel yourself, you want to explore your potential, and you must grow and develop in the field in which you have. So these are different type of needs, and these needs are identified by Maslow. In order to increase the motivational level of employees, the organization can look into all these type of needs, that when the employee you are hiring, what kind of needs he want, and according to that you can satisfy them and increase the motivational level. But as theories, every theory has certain limitation, because theories are developed under certain assumptions. So this theory has certain weaknesses. That means that 5 levels of needs are not always present. Obviously these needs are there, but at every setting you didn't get these kind of 5 levels. So you should understand that ordering or importance of needs is also not always the same. And there is cultural differences as well, because in different cultures you have different type of needs. So you in viewing these weaknesses, the organization can go and find out the basic needs of their employees, they can understand that at what time what kind of need has to be addressed in order to increase the motivational level of your employees. Now, seeing this diagram, you can see that at a lower level we have physiological needs, And secondly, once these needs are satisfied, you will go for security needs, and once this is also satisfied, you will go for belongingness, and then after that you will go for certain status or certain position in the organization or in the society. Or last one is your self actualization, in which you will go for a challenging job, or you want to achieve something which can give you good you can say a sense of achievement. So once you can say, first of all, if you want to satisfy physiological need, you can go for that with food. So you have to identify the basic salary, what type of salary, what amount of salary you are giving. You should give a certain amount of salary which can actually satisfy their basic need. Second one is your security, because obviously when employees is working, they are very insecure about their future. So pension plan can decrease this tension. Then belongingness means your relationship, your friendship. So you can create such type of environment within in the organization setting that will enhance a good organization culture, which can increase this kind of needs, this kind of feeling of their employees, and they can feel motivated. Then self esteem means that you should have a proper status or job title for the employee, which can give a good image of that person in the society. Then the last thing is self actualization. It's something very much important, because if the employees see that by successfully completing a certain task, they'll be recognized by their head, or recognized in the society, recognized in the organization setting. So it would be very challenging for him, or he will take that challenge and do that thing. So you can create certain atmosphere, or by ascertaining the people who have the capability, give them this kind of challenging tasks that will satisfy their self actualization need, which will help increase the motivational level of your employees. The other theory that is called as ERG theory, and ERG stand for existent, relatedness, and growth. This the theory is given by Elderfer, and this theory is very much similar to Maslow's needs hierarchy. But according to Elderfer, he has divided these needs into three levels. One is your existence needs, and existence needs they have merged the physiological needs and security needs in this existence needs. And second one is relatedness needs. It is actually they have merged the need of belongingness and esteem in this group. And growth needs means that they have targeted some part of self-esteem and self-actualization in this. So he think that the needs are related to existence, your relatedness, and their growth. So actually this theory is very much similar to needs hierarchy, Maslow's needs hierarchy. But this theory is actually identified that existent, relatedness, and growth are certain level, and certain levels are very much important, and you have to target these kind of needs of your employees in order to accomplish your task, or in order to be successful in the organization. There are also assumption, because for example, multiple needs can be operated at one time. That means that belongingness and existence and growth, these kind of needs can haphazardly occur in different levels. So you cannot say that these needs are actually step by step, or you can they are actually some kind of pyramid, or some kind of organization setting that they are arranged. So if need is unsatisfied, people will regress to a lower level need and pursue that need. That means that if certain needs are not satisfied, so obviously they'll go to the previous level, the lower level, and need and pursue that, and they will try to pursue that need. That is called as frustration regression. So that frustration regression can exist in the organization setting. So we have to ascertain this assumption as well while we are discussing this ERG theory.